Episode 237, the follow-along series with Danielle Dingman. Welcome to the pursuit of the perfect race. I'm Coach Terry Wilson, and with each episode, I bring stories of athletes to you that share their experiences at races in order for you to learn how to have your perfect race. You will hear stories from athletes of all ages, abilities, and races of all distances. So regardless of where you fit in, there's something in there for you. Thanks for spending some time with me today. Now let the pursuit begin. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Follow Along series. This episode is with Danielle Dingman for the month of February. Welcome back to the show, Danielle. I look forward to talking with you about February.
Thanks. I'm so excited to be here. And it's with Danielle and George the dog.
Oh my gosh, you just did that. You just did that. Oh man, so how was January for you? Ugh, oh my gosh, I can't do this. How was February for you?
February was, overall, it was a good month. It was a little challenging. I kind of struggled with a little shoulder deal, kind of worked through, but it didn't really slow me down too much. I was still able to kind of maintain consistency with swimming and biking and running, but overall it was pretty good.
Nice. You have that many off days?
Not a ton. Generally kind of how we've been structuring things is I'll go, 3 weeks as a, pretty big weeks. Recovery days might be like a really easy spin with the rest of the day off. But then after those 3 weeks, I'll take, 1.5 to 2 days of total recovery.
Okay. So I know you mentioned that you're going to do Campeche later this year, and you found something interesting out about that race this year that they changed from last year. What is that?
Yeah, they're going to start at like noon or 1 o'clock. They're starting it in the afternoon, and they're marketing it as like a twilight run. And I think one of the big reasons they're starting in the afternoon is just because it does get really hot. And last year, I did Campeche last year. We started in the morning. And so when we were finishing the run, for us, the pros, it was around noon or so. But then for the age group athletes, they were going on until later on in the afternoon on the run. And it was just excruciating. I remember just thinking, man, I would hate to be on the course right now. And so I think with them starting in the afternoon and then finishing in the evening, we'll be on the bike in the heat of the day, and then it'll be cooling off in the evening, which would be better for everybody.
So how has that little bit of knowledge changed how you've trained this month?
So, well, it's been winter here. It's been cold. So I've been spending a lot of time on the trainer and indoors. And so I've trying to be mindful of that. And I've been trying to get in a little bit of heat training by not using the fan when I am on the trainer. I also have a little space heater that I've put next to my bike to simulate, or at least just make it a little bit warmer and make myself sweat some more. The other day, I also set up my bike in like next to the pool. So after I got done my pool workout, I just jumped on the trainer in the natatorium. So I was sweating.
But you changed first. I
did, yes.
So you're not one of the ones that gets on there in your swimsuit, are you?
No, I'm not gonna wear my swimsuit on my bike. No hate anybody that does love wearing their swimsuit on their bike. I just, really prefer to put on some bike shorts.
Man.
Personal preference.
So what was your initial thoughts on how you're going to adapt to starting in the middle of the day versus starting in the morning? Because now then you have breakfast that you can fully digest, and you can even have coffee before the race. I mean, starting at noon is a little bit different.
Oh, I mean, yes and no. The lead up, or at least the things that I'll do before the race will be similar. I think maybe we'll have time for a little bit of a bigger breakfast if I wanted to get up early, have a good size breakfast. But I guess I really haven't thought about this a ton. I'll probably keep a lot of things pretty similar to what I'm used to doing, just so that my routine isn't changed up on race day. But initially when I saw that it was in the afternoon, I kind of had maybe a small little, not a freak out moment, but I was just like, oh, it's just going to be so hot. But I've been preparing for it mentally. So
was there any way that you were thinking, well, I might just consider a different race?
No, I haven't been. I know I didn't think about that. I mean, it's going to be hot for everybody, so there's no point in not doing it. Just a matter of preparing for it.
Okay. So as far as your longest swim, bike, and runs in the month of February, what was this like?
So, like I said earlier, I kind of developed a little bit of a shoulder, I don't want to say injury, but just I tweaked it a little bit because I've been trying to really focus on this swim during the winter just to build up my yards, and probably increased a little bit too quickly. And so in order to maintain my yards, but reduce how much volume I'm doing in one setting, I would split my swim into 2 swims. So do one early in the morning and then one a little bit later in the day. And so last week I did 8,300 one day with about 4,100 in the morning and 4,200 in the afternoon. And so that seemed to work out really well. That was a big day for me, just because, I mean, the longest swim day I think ever of my life. So success. For the bike, I think the longest I was on the bike was about 3.5 hours, and then run about 10 miles.
I mean, you're able to look back on this with confidence now, but at the time, whenever you were dealing with this, what was that like?
Oh, frustrating. Extraordinarily frustrating. It's when I was in the water, it's like my body wants to go, but my shoulder just didn't want to go. And so it's like I just had this discord in my body, and it's hard mentally to work through that, but you have to be smart, and you have to kind of take a step back and look at the big picture and look at what your long-term goals are. If I was to try to push myself through some of these harder workouts and risk injuring myself further, it just wouldn't have been worth it. So I really just had to be smart and listen to my body and just, call it. If I felt like I was verging on pushing my shoulder beyond what it was prepared to do for that day, I just stop and adapt to what it was telling me. And I'm doing a lot better now. So I think taking a few weeks and just kind of listening to it and responding to it appropriately was a smart thing to do.
But how did you actually say, okay, I'm not going to judge myself for not being able to do the yardage that I want to do? Because I know that's a real thing, because you're not wanting to go backwards in relationship to your goals and your races and your other competitors. And you're feeling that like you would be if you're not doing the yardage.
I mean, injury or no injuries, the swim is the hardest thing for me, and I'm constantly in a state of judging myself with swimming. And that's a daily battle that I face.
Because there's normal Danielle and then there's swimming Danielle.
Oh, Terry, you've gotten to know me, haven't you? Yeah. So, normal Danielle is a pretty confident person. Swimming Danielle's not very confident. Because, like I've said before, swimming is something I've started as an adult. Haven't been swimming for 2 years yet. And so I feel like I'm in a constant state of playing catch up, knowing that my competitors have been doing this for a very long time. And, I just feel like I have to play catch up with yards, with technique. And so it's a battle, but I've just been trying to be very patient with myself and take it one day at a time, one interval at a time, one moment at a time, focusing on right technique and getting through whatever the task is at that moment.
Okay. So what was the hardest workout that you did in February?
So my hardest day, I'd say maybe can I do a hardest day and maybe a hardest workout? So my hardest day was last Wednesday, the day that I had 2 swims. So in the morning, I did about 4,100 in the morning with the masters group, which they always push me, which is great. And then I came back a few hours later and had another pretty hard workout at lunch, about 4,200 in the water. And then after that, I was about ready to eat my arm off and take a nap. But I still had to go out and do a 2-hour bike ride. And so then after my swim, I went and pulled in the parking lot where I was going to do my ride from. And I just fell asleep in my car, totally unintentionally, for about 30 minutes. After I did that, though, I was, a little more energized to get on my bike. I was so close just to going home, though. I was so close, but I was like, you know what? I'm just do it. And so it was very cold. It was about, 20 some degrees outside. It was very windy, but I did it. And then I went and laid down in a hot tub, which was a great reward.
Wow.
So that was a hard day, but I pushed through and made it happen.
So that's your hard day. So it'll be the hardest workout then.
Yeah. One of the hardest workouts that I did was the day that I set my bike up next to the pool. I think what made it hard was just the fact that I was in this humid environment, and really trying to push myself at certain powers. And my heart rate was about 15 beats higher on average, just because, I was just sweating buckets next to the pool. It was called the kitchen sink workout. So it was about an hour and 40 minutes long. So not too terribly long, but it involved aerobic efforts, anaerobic efforts, varied cadences. So it was really, like it said, the kitchen sink. It was a mix of everything, but doing that in a more challenging environment was what made it really hard.
Okay. Were there any workouts in February where you cried during the workouts?
I cry.
Or you had to mentally really push through a dark spot?
Yeah, I don't know that I cried. Sorry, I think George just shook his head and you said no dog noises.
Your face, though. Oh my gosh.
So I had about a 2-hour bike ride this month, and it wasn't anything that was extraordinarily. It shouldn't have been as hard as it was. For some reason, I just struggled. I had to do 2 hours, like mid zone 3. Just that was it. 2 hours, mid zone 3s, basically steady state. No varied cadence, nothing. And I was on my trainer, and I wasn't using the fan because I was trying to simulate, like I said, getting ready for riding in the heat in Campeche. Well, I got to about 45 minutes, and I'm like, man, I don't think I'm going to make it to 2 hours. At that point, I didn't have the fan on, and I could see my heart rate was just going up and up and up gradually. And even when I look back in Training Peaks, I see like this gradual rise of my heart rate. And about 45 minutes, I'm like, you know what? I just need to get to the end of this thing. So I decided, okay, I'm going to turn the fan on. So I turned the fan on. I ate a gel, got some fluid in me, just try to relax. Then after about 10 minutes, then my heart rate starts dropping. I'm like, okay, maybe I can do this again. Turn the fan back off and kept going. Maybe about 10 minutes later, I was like, I just don't know if I'm going to make it. Damn it, I've got to make it. And so I did make it, but I had some serious doubts about halfway through.
Wow. So I know you started working with a sports psychologist. How has this been so far?
So I've only met once so far. My second meeting with him will be later on this week. And, the reason why I decided to reach out to a sports psychologist is because, like I said before, swimming's been a challenge. And I don't have a great deal of confidence when it comes to the swim. And I feel like I've had some ups and downs in training that I feel like could be avoided if my headspace was just in a better place. And I've got to do whatever I can to stay positive and stay focused. And I feel like, getting help from somebody to do that is a good decision for me. I also just think about just sport in general. You can be the strongest person in the world. You can be the most fit triathlete, but if you're in a race and your head isn't where it needs to be, you can get beat by somebody who technically you should beat. So it's all about finding that edge mentally and being able to push yourself beyond what you think you're capable of doing and staying positive throughout it all.
Okay. So what about your day-to-day life? I know that you're driving quite a bit and having to go back and forth from Springfield to Branson and so forth. How has this been on your life so far?
It's still a challenge because I'm still spending, about 10 hours a week in the car just driving, which I'm trying to figure out how to make that time productive because it can feel like wasted time. But my day to day has been okay. It still feels a little bit disjointed going from workout to the other and also still trying to do work in between workouts, doing recovery things in between workouts, eating in between everything. So, I mean, I'm making it work. I'm really trying to get all of my workouts and training done before 5 p.m. so that I'm available when my husband gets home and we can have dinner together and enjoy the evening together. And what I'll do at the start of each week is I'll make a big meal and we'll just kind of eat leftovers for the rest of the week. So that kind of helps make the week a lot easier as well.
So how often does Grayson get his mac and cheese in?
So actually he's been doing this thing. He's going to kill me. He's been doing this. He's totally going to kill me. Saying this. So he's been doing this thing with his brother for this year. Each month they're doing something new, kind of giving up something just to kind of train themselves in discipline, right? And so this month they decided to give up gluten and do a gluten-free February. And I think next month might be, I don't know what next month. I know one month they're going to do no beer or no alcohol. One month might be no screen time. But anyways, this month has been no gluten. So that means no mac and cheese for Grayson.
Thankfully, it's almost over.
Yeah, we're planning on having a very large pizza on Friday.
Well, good. So how's your day-to-day nutrition been?
Good. I'm still alive and standing. I don't think that I've had a cheeseburger since the last time we talked. I think January I said I need a cheeseburger. Yeah, I didn't need a cheeseburger. But so it's been challenging the time getting in meals and nutrition between workouts, but I've been trying to focus on increasing my carbohydrate intake because last month I felt like I just wasn't getting enough carbs. And so I've been trying to increase that and make sure that I'm getting in plenty of carbs immediately after my workouts too, so that I'm fueled for the next workout.
Nice. So that's pretty much all the touch points that I have listed so far. Do you have anything else you want to add about? I mean, I know you've been talking about a little bit more on your race planning. You've gotten that a little bit more nailed down now. If you want to touch on that.
Yeah, so I'll do Campeche here in a few weeks. And then shortly after that, I'll gear up to go to Texas in Galveston. And then after that, I have some ideas on what the rest of it will look like. But let's dive into that more next month. So we'll just kind of keep it.
You don't want to like commit to anything, huh?
Oh no, I'm good. Yeah, so we're still working on some sponsors and figuring out funding too. So I don't want to like over promise and under deliver. But okay. I can commit to Campeche and Galveston.
That's it.
I mean, for right now, let's talk again next month. Like I said, yeah.
Okay. Well, so what is the word of February then?
I've been thinking about this since our last conversation. I'm like, okay, what's my word going to be for this month? Well, okay, so the word that has constantly come up over and over and over again, and I feel like it can be cliche for athletes, but it's very real, and it's patience, just being patient. And I think, especially with dealing with this shoulder deal that I've had this past month, I've just kind of had to be patient with the day-to-day, the process, the healing. Yeah.
Okay.
So, that's the word.
So should you have had more patience with your body on that 2-hour trainer ride then?
I feel like I think I was patient. Was I not? You don't think I was
Well,
patient?
I mean, 45 minutes with no fan. I mean, if you just had a little bit more patience with it, you could have made it 2 hours without a fan.
Terry, you don't even know the struggle bus. I was riding down Struggle Street. That making it to the end was just what needed to happen that day. And some days that's okay. Just make it to the finish. It doesn't have to be perfect every single time.
You're right. It doesn't.
No.
Awesome. Well, if you need anything, let me know. And that's all I got. And I look forward to talking to you soon.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Have a good day, okay?
Bye.
Thanks for tuning in today. I hope you enjoyed this episode of the Follow Along series. Don't forget to check back next month to follow this athlete's progress. Please leave a review over on iTunes and check out my websites to see pictures from this athlete.